John Wick 4. I finally seen it. You saw it and gave your out of theater review. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It was great.
There
It
were
was great.
things that this movie did that certain movies that we talk about quite a bit can't do. They just
Yeah.
can't do it to this level.
hmm
From the writing to the action scenes, and I'll get more in depth with that. But this was good. This was really good.
Great movie. Great movie. Let's just start there. Just a fantastic movie. Great way to send off a character,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, spoilers. Everyone, John Wick passes. Yeah. Great way to send him off. One of the key themes for John Wick for me that I've noticed throughout all four of the movies is how they build the world around the Continental and the table and all the assassins. They keep giving you little add-ons to that whole life, that world, without sitting down and talking for 20 minutes.
Yes.
They find inventive ways to move the plot forward, to give character development, to give us character history without sitting down and having a conversation for an hour.
They move so quickly, but through intentional dialogue and the way that they set up shots and things of that nature, you just know. And they're not quick to
Efficiency.
they're not quick to insult their audience's intelligence. Like they expect you to
Mm.
get it and we're moving forward,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is so much better than, like I said, some other movies that I've watched. But
The dude that they were introducing, right? The tracker. Did they sit down there and say, right when he found him, right? Did he sit up there and say, trackers are blah da 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 da? The only thing that you guys do is da 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 da. What are you doing here? To tell us as an audience what a tracker is? No, we saw what a tracker is. We
yep.
saw how he differs between an actual hitman, actual assassin, and what this guy does, right? More times than not, this guy just usually sells the personal location because they're hard to find, they're hard to track down. So I will do most of the work for you and put you in a position to kill him, but I don't usually do the killing myself.
Yeah.
Right? We got all of those distinctions from watching the movie, not from him saying a single word about it. We would have stopped the entire movie to explain who this person is, what their role is, and how they differ from everybody else. They probably would have had a fight scene to decipher his fighting style from everyone else's too, to make sure everyone knows he's different. Like some of y'all's favorite creators would have done that shit exactly like that.
If I can also offer another example, the introduction to Kane, where he's sitting on the bench and the violin is playing, shot beautifully, didn't give us a word, and we knew exactly what was up with him. We knew exactly what type of time he was on. And what motivates him, because he had the locket in his hand. They didn't say a word though, and we just knew. So it's things like that that's just like I said, next level to like some of these Marvel and DC action movies.
It pales in comparison, to be quite honest with you. It really does. There's no comp. I don't even think we can consider it to be the same genre of film.
Yeah.
It is just miles ahead in terms of action. And here's the thing. It's not the cussing. It's not the blood. It's not the fact that they are doing something extra vulgar to make it rated R. It's not even the guns to that degree, because the hand-to-hand stuff was some of the best stuff in the movie. So it's like it is literally just adequately leveling up your stakes, making people feel that what they're watching actually matters. All of that stuff gives you exactly what you want. You want to have a relatable character. You want to have someone that people look up to, but also fear a little bit. You don't have to drive it home in the dialogue. You don't have to sit up there and talk about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. In this movie, man, that is the definition of just do it.
You actually talked a little bit.
Big ass Nike sign.
Facts. You actually talked a little bit about the action as well. I was strictly just talking about the writing and cinematography of it all, but like they are experts on what we want in action.
Oh my god.
They are experts.
It's so bad watching Moon Knight and then having to come over to this. Watching Black Panther and then having to come over and watch this. Folks, they didn't have half the budget. They didn't spend half the money that Marvel spent on Shuri fighting Namor, on the Dora Milaje fighting the Talakans or the Teleconians or whatever we're calling them, on that ship in that final battle scene.
Yep.
That's a $50 million scene. I don't know. But I can tell you they spent infinitely more money doing that stuff than what you got from John Wick on them stairs.
Facts.
They spent infinitely more money. Now tell me, I dare you to say that Marvel scene was better. I dare you. The final battle scene with Kang and Ant-Man cost infinitely more money than the club scene where it was fighting the dude that killed Etor.
Yeah.
Right? Infinitely more money. Tell me the Ant-Man battle scene was better than that.
I can't.
You can't.
I can't.
So not only are they outperforming you, but they're underspending by multiple derivatives. 2-3 times over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the crazy thing from there, the last thing that I think they did they are the master class when it comes to this, is now at this point they have ended their story. So they didn't take their story all the way out and try to flesh it out until, just to get money, where the story just doesn't really make sense anymore and it's not feasible. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they set themselves up to where, and I think Perp said this, they can essentially have a Wickverse. They can just keep coming up with spin-offs, different characters. I want to see Kane. I want to see Mr. Nobody.
You know why? You know why you want to see Kane again? Because they didn't attempt to replace John Wick in this movie with Kane.
Yeah.
You want to know why you want to see a movie with the daughter?
It starts with an R. Rena?
Sure. Because they didn't make her somehow a better fighter than her father or better fighter than John Wick. She held her own. She absolutely held her own. And she was a star within her own right. They weren't trying to make her a new John Wick. That's why you're interested in what kind of differences this character has, right? She's a badass in her own right. What's her story? Yep. Same thing with Mr. Nobody. You introduced him. You allowed him to be his own thing. I had a sneaky suspicion that he was going to be John Wick's son. I really had that suspicion that they were going to try to say he was. Because think about it. He had the dogs.
He did have the dogs. We know
in the John Wick verse that had the dogs like that. They never make the connection, but he uses them the same way she do.
Yeah.
And we know that her and Wick have prior history. She helped relocate her daughter. Mm-hmm. Well, what if they just, had a baby that she had to give up for adoption or something? I don't know. I have no clue. That'll just be another bad mom story for Halle Berry. What's another one, right? But it's potential there. I definitely thought that's where they were going with it. But they didn't even do that. They literally just let him be his own man. Yep. And now you're interested enough that you may want to even see a series.
Yep.
And they are doing a series, actually, on Peacock about the Continental Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, bam.
I'm interested.
I'm here for it. I want to see it all. This was beautifully executed. I don't feel like it was... Well, of course it was hyper-masculine, but it wasn't so masculine that you couldn't have a good time in it. To hell with what Zachary Levi is saying. You could definitely take a date to this movie because it's going to keep you so engaged. It's not going to be boring. You're not going to fall asleep. You're going to actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're going to actually enjoy it. Take your date to go see John Wick.
Absolutely. One other thing I want to touch on, obviously, with the passing of Lance Reddick, they kind of had a little bit of addressing here to do with that as well, which I believe he was probably they already probably killed him off in the movie anyway. So yeah, that was probably already going to happen. I feel like in the underground tunnel where they kind of discussed what was on his headstone and everything like that, I feel like that might have been added in possibly. But either way, I think that was a much better way of handling that than kind of overplaying that to kind of go on a cash grab the way that
you mean
some other film studios do?
Reddick out there in the face of the movie so that you can try to manipulate everybody's emotions to bolster the movie?
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They sent him off with the respectful monologue and they made a good movie. They didn't mutate the franchise to fit around his death.
And then if I could say that there was one thing that I was kind of upset about, is that great value Joe Burrow, aka the big bad in this movie.
Damn, he looked just like Joe Burrow, don't he? He looks just like Joe Burrow. I was like, okay, Joey B, out here getting your acting chops on.
Facts.
That boy throwing touchdowns and he winning Oscars.
Right. So my only thing about this movie was that he called a hit right before the duel. And I'm just like, bro, you know John Wick is going to get right through that. He is Baba Yaga.
Definitely brought him down a peg for me because he was talking big shit and he was doing big shit all the way up until the point it was time to shoot. And then when he nominated Kane, I was like, that's weak sauce. I don't fuck with it. I don't fuck with it. He immediately became the weakling. And I thought he was doing a good job of giving us a pretty good big bad leading up into that. Yep. But yeah, I didn't like that. I ain't like that.
I'm like, you were calling a hit on Baba Yaga. What's wrong with you? He's going to get through that. Now, he got some help, but come on, fam. Anyway, I think that's all I had about the movie. You want to give it a rating?
John Wick 4. So, first of all, before we rate it, let's rank the movies.
Okay.
Let's rank the movies. In order, from best to least favorite. I will go John Wick 2, John Wick 1, John Wick 4, John Wick 3.
Wow. Okay.
2's the best. Second best is 1. This is very good. This is close. I couldn't have it beat 1 or 2 just because we were still ascending in 1 or 2 and I had no idea where we were going with it, right? It was still had that level of like, damn, man, I don't know where they're going to take this franchise next kind of thing. 2 is the classic John Wick movie for me. 2 is probably the best one.
Okay, so probably because I'm on a high from it, just saw it, I'm putting John Wick 4 first, but I'm going to be honest, I'm probably just ranking that because of recency bias.
Recency bias, yeah.
Yeah. John Wick 1 for number 2. John Wick 3 for number 3, and John Wick 2 for number 4. The only reason why is because I just couldn't get into the villain of John Wick 2. But I will say that John Wick 2 is actually not that far off from any of them. Like, none of them are like that far off from each other. John Wick 2 set up John Wick 3, and I really like John Wick 3.
See, John Wick 3, it's not that I didn't like it. I'll watch it anytime it comes on television. But it got a little weird with me when they started... when the table now was lumping the Continental in with John Wick. It got weird to me because now it's like, well, no, I mean, he should be able to just disavow Wick and kind of, help him on the side. Now, and that kind of bled into this movie too. Where like they're open war against all Continentals across the world because the idea of John Wick is so dangerous that it just feels like a overreaching tyrant.
Yeah.
And then we never see the table.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought the third one where he goes out into the desert, right, would have been the perfect time for him to actually see who sits at this table.
For sure. I agree.
Maybe that'll be something for one of the, the prequel series or one of the spinoffs. But that we were using the table as such an omnipotent figure in number 3, yet we never saw them. At least we had a face.
Yeah.
In 4, you had somebody that was the main antagonist. There was no face. There was just that chick who was talking all the damn time, and she didn't end up getting shot. So it just ended up annoying me. I was like, all right, well, the hell with all of that.
Fair enough. I also put John Wick 3 higher just because I wanted to say excommunicado on the podcast. I haven't gotten a chance to say excommunicado.
Yeah, 1 and 2 has some of the most memorable lines. Everybody keeps asking me, are you back? Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Fire.
Love it.
Classic.
Love it.
All right, so you're going to actually give it a rating?
8.5. 8.5. I wanted to say 9, but I can't justify the third best John Wick movie being so hot, because that means the other 2 are 10s. I mean, which are pretty close. I wouldn't say they're 10s. Those are perfect movies. 10s don't really exist. Well, Godfather Part 1 and 2 exist.
There's definitely 10s.
Movies.
But
there aren't many of them, though.
No,
there aren't many of them. People
there
think there are a lot of them, and there's not. There's a very finite amount of 10s.
That is fair.
So I'd say 8.5.
But there has to be a 10 for the rating. For the sake of the rating, there has to be a 10 to compare it to.
It's not a very realistic rating because movies are so subjective that something that you might see as minor for you, the next critic seems as, being world changing, and it completely changes the dynamic of the movie for him. So
that's fair.
10s are very hard to grasp because it requires some sort of consensus, which is why The Godfather stands the test of time, because who has ever seen The Godfather that didn't love that movie? But in any case, I don't know. Yeah, 8.5, solid score.
Well, I'm glad I didn't put myself in the box of not ranking it high, because I give it a 9. This is definitely going to be one of the best.
Hey, that's fine. That was just my reasoning for not going 9.
I got it.
If you were on at 3 on my list of the franchise, then it's not 10 or 9, 9.5-ish. 8.5. We're not that far off. We're pretty much there.
That's cool. 8 and I was gonna say we're not that far at all.
Give us your thoughts. What did you think of the movie? Put your comments in the prompt below. Tell us everything that you loved and didn't love about it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Come back next week. We should have some more review content for you.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out our previous movie review that we just did on Shazam, a movie that we did not give a 9 to. And make sure you subscribe, because we will be doing movie reviews for all the big movies this year.